Hey, what's up, guys? So today for Spartan 1, I want to talk about one of the best things I've ever figured out in terms of training back. So I'm a big back trainer. I love to train back. I think that there's a lot of postural benefits that come from training back in terms of your whole back when it's retracted kind of pulls everything into alignment, right? Now, when you think of the back and the back muscles from, the traps to your scapula to everything, it all comes in like this. So the striations in your back pull inwards into kind of pulling you into correct posture. So when you think about most people, and myself included, daily activities in terms of posture, there's a lot of sitting, especially when you're driving or you're sitting in a chair or something like that. So you're chronically in this hunch position. When you take proper care of your back and you really build those stabilizing muscles in an equal symmetrical fashion, the first thing that happens is your shoulders roll back. And when your shoulders roll back, your head goes into proper position, your lumbar kind of slots into your pelvis, your thoracic spine comes into place, and then your cervical spine follows beyond that, which basically is like 70% of optimal posture. Now, if you want to train back, the big thing is understanding that pulling back and in motion. And when you train back, having gymnastics rings, right? So the rings where if you're normally doing pull-ups, you're just going straight up and down. The rings add a variability to those exercises to where there's degrees of rotation. So the rings do two things. Number one, it provides that degree of rotation to where you can really wrap your back in, right? And that will correct your spinal posture really, really well. Additionally, when you just hang there through the rings, you get that rotation in your rotator cuffs, which allows you to kind of unhinge any of the bullshit that you have from playing on your phone or anything like that. So when you have the rings, the first thing that it net benefits you is basically that rotation that allows you to pull everything back in a much more natural or organic kind of pull-up situation. Second thing that happens is when you train rings, if you can build up enough strength to train false grip. So false grip is essentially, instead of just holding the rings like this, you anchor that ring on your hand and the palm right here. Meaning that when you pull up, you're pulling with not only this part of your hand, you're not leveraging your grip as much, you're pulling with like a hook on your arm so that it pulls everything into alignment. Like if you just do this motion and kind of like find something to pull yourself up on, you'll feel recruitment in your hips, in your core, in your back, in your neck. Everything will work to stabilize itself. And that combined with the rotation of those rings will perfectly, I don't know if this is a word, but symmetrize your back, right? Everything will kind of pop into place, plus extended holds right there. So it's a super big hack for symmetry, which in my opinion is very, very important for, getting those higher level heavy lifts in on a repeated basis, right? Because if you think about lifting, say you're doing 500 pounds on deadlift, if you're 10% out of alignment on your left foot, what is, 10% of 500 pounds overloading on one side of your body? You do that, 4 times a month over the course of a year. How many extra pounds or volume has been overloaded on one side of your body, which will just bang into you any type of postural imbalances that you have. So the whole idea with Spartan 1 training is that when you're building from the ground up, you really want to focus on symmetry. You want to focus on having really, really good posture, and you want to focus on recruiting your entire body for every single lift. Even if you're doing a bicep curl or something like that, you think about the amount of force that you're generating with your bicep, how that's anchored into your shoulder, and what stabilizes your entire arm is actually your core. So it's directly proportional to the supporting systems of how much you can lift in terms of like the actual volume that you can train. So if you can train holistically and you can have this symmetry and you can have this universal motor recruitment instead of lazily kind of just using one muscle group, you become a lot more integrated. You have a higher level of mind-body connection, and your ability to perform heavier compound lifts and even more brutal enduring cardiovascular workouts, it just becomes a lot easier because you're not just using isolation type of things that have been passed down from bodybuilding theologies or ideologies. So that's my 2 cents on why I love ring workouts, why I think that they're so powerful, and I think that they're really underutilized because if you go to gyms, you don't really see any rings, but dude, they're badass. They're like $30 on Amazon. I tell everybody about them, and I think that they're a real hack for anybody who's looking to really train back or get better symmetry. So that's all I had to say. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Cheers.